The summer heat had finally settled into a warm breeze, and our backyard pool had become the neighborhood hangout spot. My son Jake was home from college, and his friends came by almost daily. Among them was Tyler, tall, charming, with an easy smile and manners that made him stand out. I'd known him since they were in high school, and he'd always been respectful. But that summer something shifted. Or maybe I just started noticing things differently. I'd recently finalized my divorce. After 20 years of marriage, the silence in the house felt heavier than ever. Jake was only home for the summer before heading back to school in the fall. The idea of being alone again lingered in the back of my mind every night. Still, I kept busy with housework, yoga, gardening, and, of course, the steady parade of college boys who came over. That Friday evening, Jake had a small get-together. Nothing big. Just 4 of his closest friends. I ordered pizza, stocked the fridge with soda, and tried to keep to myself, only stepping in to tidy the kitchen or make sure no one was tracking pool water inside. Around 10 p.m., the group started thinning out. A couple of the guys left early, and Jake ended up heading out with another friend to crash a birthday party nearby. Tyler, however, stayed behind. Said he was tired, and Jake had told him he could sleep in the guest room. I was in the kitchen wiping down the counter when Tyler walked in wearing just his swim shorts. His shirt draped over his shoulder. He was still slightly damp from the pool. I handed him a towel and smiled politely. "You didn't go with them?" I asked, trying to keep the tone casual. "Nah, not really into the party scene anymore," he said, shrugging. "Plus, it's peaceful here." There was a moment, just a second too long, where our eyes met. Felt the pause. Something unspoken floated between us. I brushed it off, telling myself I was just imagining things. "You want something to drink?" I asked, walking to the fridge. "I could go for some lemonade," he said. We sat out on the back deck, the glow from the pool lights casting a shimmer across the water. I could feel his eyes on me more than once. First I thought it was harmless, but then he asked something unexpected. "Can I ask you something personal?" he said, leaning forward. "Sure," I replied cautiously. "Do you ever miss being wanted?" I blinked. The air thickened. "That's a pretty loaded question, Tyler." He gave a slight laugh. "I mean, not to be out of line. I just always thought you were, beautiful and strong. Like, I don't think Jake realizes how lucky he is to have you as a mom." I didn't know what to say. Compliments weren't new to me, but coming from my son's best friend, that was complicated. I cleared my throat and stood up. "You should probably get some rest," I said. He stood too. "Yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to cross a line." But the truth is, he already had. And somewhere deep inside, I didn't stop him. That night, I lay in bed unable to sleep. I replayed the conversation over and over. Was it harmless? Was it just a boy with a harmless crush? But the way he looked at me, it wasn't boyish. It was intentional. And the loneliness in my chest responded more than I expected. Sometime after midnight, I heard a light knock on my door. Sat up. "Who is it?" "Tyler." My heart pounded. "I just couldn't sleep," he said softly through the door. "Can I talk to you for a second?" I hesitated, then got up and opened the door slightly. "Everything okay?" He stood there in a t-shirt and pajama pants, eyes lowered. "I know it's not my place, but I can't stop thinking about earlier. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, but I also don't want to lie about how I feel." I stood frozen for a moment. I should have shut the door. I should have reminded him of boundaries. But instead I stepped back. He took it as a silent invitation and walked in. We sat on the edge of the bed, both unsure of how to begin again. He reached for my hand gently. "I think you deserve to feel appreciated," he said. "And I know this is crazy, but I don't think I've ever looked at anyone the way I look at you." It was wrong, I knew that. But his words filled a space in me that had long been empty. I wasn't just a mom or an ex-wife or a woman past her prime. In that moment I felt seen, desired. What happened next wasn't sudden. It wasn't impulsive. It was slow, thoughtful, and emotional. He stayed beside me that night and we talked for hours about life, regrets, dreams. And though nothing physical crossed a certain threshold, the emotional intimacy that unfolded was deeper than anything I had expected. When morning came, he quietly slipped out before Jake returned. I stood in the kitchen pouring coffee, my hands shaking slightly. The guilt hit me like a wave. What had I done? But over the next few days, things didn't go back to normal. Tyler texted, checked in, just how I was. It wasn't just flirtation, it was genuine care. And part of me started to care back. We never talked openly about that night. Not in the way people expect. But our connection continued. Secret, silent, complicated. By midsummer, Jake noticed Tyler wasn't coming around as often. He asked me once if anything had happened. Maybe he's just growing up, I said with a shrug, keeping my face neutral. In truth, Tyler and I had made a decision to let time figure things out. He went back to school in the fall. We stopped texting daily. But he always sent a message on Sundays. Just a simple thinking of you. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if that night will stay locked in a memory box or turn into something more. But I do know that for one night I let my guard down. I let someone cross a line I never expected. And I let it happen not because I was weak, but because I was human.